This is the second of our new help videos aimed at showing you how we've restructured information in the climate web to make it a lot accessible. The systems thinking doorway, which is the focus of this video, this walks you through an awful lot of stuff, thousands of hours worth of content organized in a way that you can explore it, scan it very quickly, dig in as deep as you want. And so I'm going to show you more how it's structured than try and really walk through in depth each of these different systems thinking topics. So I'm going to start with the $1 trillion questions, the first thought there. And what this does is introduce our way of thinking about what are the key questions involved in what's going to happen with climate change in the future. And instead of having a complex set of questions at the left, what we do here is we've embedded the questions into the notes field, and you can go into every single one of the questions to dig into that topic. I'm going to start with the climate psychology $1 trillion question. Can we overcome our risk management evolutionary biology? And that jumps you to a thought here, which walks through the evolution of how humans deal with risk. And you can get a very quick overview of that. It points you to other insights pages like this one, or a mini course in climate change psychology. Just like everything else, if you click on the link, it'll jump over. This is information extracted from George Marshall's great book on climate psychology. Don't even think about it, why our brains are wired to ignore climate change. And you can spend as much time as you want digging into that topic. You can also come back here, and from the dashboards, you can say, okay, let me take a look at the core library for climate psychology. If it's a book, we'll point you to Amazon. If it's a report, it can be downloaded here from the climate web. But we have a lot of these core libraries for all kinds of topics, or it'll point you to a tagged collection, the evolutionary biology of climate risk. And this pulls together headings, it pulls together news stories, it pulls together videos. So it pulls together a lot of the best information from around the climate web for exploring this question of can we overcome our evolutionary biology. So we've spent a lot of time curating the information that you can take advantage of through these tagged collections. Last, I'm going to show you climate psychology search terms. So if we go here, and again, if you have premium access, all you have to do is hover over the search term and it'll actually act for you. You can check out Google Scholar, Google Images, Vimeo, YouTube, Quora, which is a great way to explore a lot of questions, Twitter, and Google Scholar. And you can actually activate all of these to see what's there that you might want to take a look at that might not be in the climate web or might not yet in the climate web. So these search terms, and there are thousands of them that we've organized in the climate web, are a very useful way of taking advantage of some of the work that we've done in putting together the climate web. So if I jump back to the systems thinking thought and then jump down to the what's coming thought there, this is like all the others, it's climate futures. And so each of the different topics that you see here, you can dig into. And just for example, degree by degree thought. Then over here, you'll see a number of dashboards. And if I click on the impacts at 3 degrees centigrade, that opens up a dashboard that pulls together a lot of information and ideas about what would 3 degrees actually mean in terms of information that we've extracted from reports and books and all kinds of things. So it's a very useful way of taking a look at a huge amount of information organized here in the climate web. If we just jump back to systems thinking at the top of the second column, good news and bad news, you can go in and is there good news? And there's a lot of good news. And so here you can actually come in and find news stories, et cetera, on topics relating to good news in the climate space. You can also go in and find, unfortunately, what is some of the bad news taking place with respect to climate change. If we jump back to the systems thinking, you'll see here that we have business and climate change. If you click on that, opens up all of these different topics: business impacts and risks, business responses, climate risk disclosure, all the different topics, everything you might want to know as a business user, you can explore down through those links. The same goes, these are just a couple of key topics: climate economics, climate communications, climate ethics, and you can come in and explore a lot of information around climate communications and climate economics, discounting the future, economics as a frame, carbon pricing as a solution. And if I click on the carbon pricing as solution, you'll see here lots of relevant insight pages you can jump to, dashboards you can take advantage of, and then again, search terms for general carbon pricing as climate solution, a global carbon price search term. And so this is specific search terms for the topic of what about global carbon pricing. And so you can just click your way through the search terms and then see what you might want to dig into. So it's just another interesting and useful way of accessing a great deal of information. So that wraps up this second video, and the third video will go into rapid access to everything.